Hello everyone, my name is Sean. I am the Crypto Smith. Welcome back to another video on Jasmy. Now this isn't going to be just a regular update video, let you know kind of what's going on, what new things have happened, but this is going to be a video on a partnership with another software company and real world utility that Jasmy is bringing to the table. So let's get straight into this one. So let's just go over what Jasmy is one more time if you don't know. Now, if you didn't see my last video, I'm going to post a link right up here, and you can go check it out after this one. And that is going to give you a very good kind of a 30,000-foot view that I like to call of the project, what they're doing, what it means to you, and how it is real-world utility in a crypto-driven market. So let's talk about data, because that's what Jasmy is all about, the collection of data, protecting your personal data so that nobody else can utilize it unless you want to use it, and then you get credit for that use. You get to decide who sees it and when they see it, if at all. Who owns our data? So there have been numerous incidents in which data that we believe should be managed safely is quite easily leaked due to cyber attacks, system defects, and human mistakes. In addition, there have been cases where data tracked, collected, and analyzed from networks is misused to deliver ads or clever content that can lead you to websites you didn't originally want, like phishing, right? These are scams. The basic idea of data democracy right here. This is the big one for Jasmy. Our basic idea is to return personal data to the hands of the individual it belongs to and realize democratization of data that is distributed and managed in a secure way. The Jasmy IoT platform, which is the Internet of Things, will be developed based on this idea. So let's go into the partnership I'm talking about. So the partnership is a company called Witz. And you can't see it here because obviously these are Japanese companies, and this is translated into English from that Japanese, and it doesn't really translate everything perfectly. Here's Jasmy. This is June 18th, 2020. So this is not a new partnership. This has been ongoing. It is announcement of alliance with Witz. This is supposed to be Witz right here. This is the real company name Witz, but it translated into Witz. Limited for mass business. And mass is MAAS, that is mobility as a service. Let's see. Jasmy is a company that utilizes blockchain technology to realize data democratization that allows user to manage personal information at their will, unlike the GAFA model, which is Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon, right? The big data companies, the big data collectors out there. Therefore, we aim to provide a platform that can provide various services to many service companies while protecting the personal information of users. It's necessary to collect and analyze big data, such as user activity, in order to provide new services that are useful for living within the community-based town MAS, right? Mobility as a service proposed by Witz. And this is Witz. We plan to utilize Jasmy's blockchain technology for data collection and analysis that protects personal information. So they're going to be utilizing the information that's collected and analyzed in order to help set up this MOS, which is mobility as a service. Think of this as travel, personal travel. This is you catching a cab, getting on a train, getting on a bus, or maybe walking. Maybe the application that you're using suggests it's faster if you walk to your destination than if you get on try to hail a cab or get on a bus. So it's that kind of mobility that we're talking about, personal mobility. This is from Witz. All products from automobiles and home appliances to factory robots are connected to networks and exchange information with each other. In such a world, we are a company that contributes to the development of autonomous driving, AI, Internet of Things, CPS, society to provide specialized technologies such as embedded software, security simulation, functional safety, and operating systems. So that's what Witz is, a company that deals with development software for the Internet of Things, for autonomous driving, for all sorts of things that are going to be part of the city of the future, right? The smart cities. In my next video, I'm actually going to tackle that subject, smart cities, and how Jasmy and Witz will both be integrated into that. So here is the Witz website here. 5 missions, new mobility, and we're going to talk about this one right here, along with something called Isowit. So new mobility, and Sxim, and this is what we're going to be talking about, along with Isowit, which is coming up next, and how they actually work together. Implementing mobility that focuses not only on the destination, but on the experience, that's the X here, along the way. Let's go check out more of this. So shared experience in mobility, or Sxim. Shared mobility, right, for entertainment, knowledge, shopping, drinking, eating, partying. So again, this relates back to mobility, personal mobility or travel, where you're going to be getting on buses, limos, walking, cabs, what have you. Using blockchain technology, each individual can safely manage their own information, right, which is the Jasmy part. You can control personal information disclosure at your discretion. You get to choose who sees your info and when. And then we provide entertainment on the move. Sxim. It's harder to say than you think it is. Sxim Platform. You can talk to the character, which I think this is application, and set the boarding place, time, number of people, and destination. It's also possible to dispatch a ride with people who have similar tastes and interests so that users who ride together can enjoy themselves and have a conversation with each other. So this is giving the notion that this platform, this data and the analyzation that it's going to do is actually going to put like people together so that they can have, a nice ride. Let's say you're on an hour bus ride. You don't want to sit next to a bunch of people with very dissimilar tastes, a lot of very serious businessmen sitting next to a lot of teenage girls, right? That might create some conflict there. So think about those things and all the possibilities that can occur from that. Yes, they're going to take your data, they're going to have to analyze it, and they're going to utilize it to put your the best travel experience possible, right? You getting from A to B, in the nicest way possible, and obviously the most efficient way. And there is a video here that I'm going to play you that is going to help you kind of with that process. And then I'm going to explain afterwards kind of how that works. And then we're going to go into the next system real quick here. So I'm going to play this video for you. It's 1 minute, 30 seconds. I may not play the whole thing, just enough so you understand what we're talking about here.
Moss with entertainment. What kind of experience is that? Register your hobby on Sxim and simply reserve some transportation. Share a reserved taxi with others. Match with others who have the same hobbies and have a more enjoyable trip. You can log in using any mobile device with only information about your recent conversation. And you can even reserve concert tickets. Moreover, you can also share your conversation with the concierge using the vehicle's terminal. This is where the importance of security comes in. Users' personal information is classified into public and non-public information and strictly monitored with blockchain powered by Jasmy. Also, you can safely make reservations or payments. Match with others and enjoy entertainment together.
Okay, so these two are in a cab, let's say, or even on a bus, and they have a platform in front of them that they can utilize. And you can, like this guy, he's buying his tickets to an opera or a play or a show or whatever. And that system, right, which you own, it's going to ask you things like, do you want to share this information? Do you want others near you to have access to this information or to know these things about you? You can say, yeah, this one you can share that I just bought tickets to the opera. And this person sitting next to him, this lady sitting next to him, could say, hey, wow, that's really cool. I saw that opera last week, and then they can have a talk about it, right? And it's that shared experience. And this, obviously, you can take that up to the nth degree, right? And there's all sorts of personal interactions you can have there. Sharing or not sharing your information can become very important. And I know, especially here in the States, and a lot of some of the other countries, people are very, very guarded and very shy, and they keep to themselves and don't want to share information. This is a much easier passive way just to allow the information to be out there. Maybe you can strike up a conversation. Of course, you don't have to share anything. Just go on about your day. They're going to put you on a bus full of very serious business guys who don't want to talk to anybody, and then you'll be just fine. So now, how does this relate to the next product, which is the Isowit system? Co-developed by Jasmy and Witz, made a splash at the Chunichi Dragons baseball field. Now, obviously, baseball is very popular in Japan, and this is, I'm sure, one of their very popular teams. On February 16th, the Chunichi Dragons and the Hokkaido Nihon Ham Fighters. Very interesting names they have for their teams. Another baseball powerhouse played a practice game at the Okinawa Spring Training Camp with a large number of fans there to cheer. It offered a great opportunity for the Isowit system to shine by improving the efficiency in the management of the stadium's entry and exit and precision in the prevention and control of the epidemic. We know what they're talking about here. So this is basically what Isowit is doing. The Isowit system is a mega venue intelligent management system to ensure personal information security based on Jasmy's original blockchain technology, personal data locker, or PDL. And it says right here, the Isowit system, co-developed by Jasmy and Witz, a leading Japanese travel service provider, not travel service like they're booking you airline tickets or cruise ships, but the mobility part of this, that personal travel, is being used by Japanese baseball giants, Chunichi Dragons, for stadium management at their 2022 spring training camp in Okinawa. The system can not only filter out sensitive information from the audience, but it also provide a variety of personalized services in the event of the pandemic. This is the first major application of Jasmy's personal data locker technology in baseball. So obviously you can see this is real world utility. This is stuff that exists outside of crypto. The people who are utilizing this platform, the people who are going to watch this baseball game, most likely don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. They probably never heard of Isowit. Maybe they've never heard of Jasmy or Witz either. Right? So these are how things can run behind the scenes, and the general public never really knows what's happening. Key advantages of the Isowit system were applied to the baseball field, and this is where you kind of all connects. And obviously you can see in the SXIM, the shared experience in mobility that we talked about just before. This is how you might actually arrive at this baseball field, and then you're going to get here and you're going to use this Isowit, and you'll see how these things are paired together. Fans can easily enter and exit the stadium by scanning the QR code. Personal information registered by fans will be saved to Jasmy's personal data locker and provided to the operator, which is the baseball field, with sensitive information filtered out. The operator can regulate the control the number of fans at the time of admissions through the system so that both operator and the fans can feel at ease during the game, right? So it's going to help channel a crowd in through different gates at different times, allowing a certain number of people in, at certain intervals in order to keep the crowds down, in order to keep, large gatherings of people at one time, obviously, for, the health situation. During the epidemic, the system can be used to filter personal data to detect whether there's cases of infection, vaccination status, so countermeasures can be prepared in advance, right? And this is basically all of that data collection and analyzation that this system is going to do to help filter people through systems, right? And it's going to could be a concert going on. It could be sporting events. Could be educational experiences, right? And so there's many number of places and times that this can be utilized. But yes, it's going to collect data, and I'm going to talk about that more in a second here. So here it says before users can register their personal information such as name, age, address, phone number, probably social security, all your personal, sensitive stuff on the operator's website. It's going to filter out the items that are not needed by the operator, by the stadium that you're walking into. It may need personal health information, right, if there's a situation going on, and things like that. So you can kind of understand what's happening here. Here's your personal information, goes through. This is supposed to be data locker. And then the non-sensitive information like your interests and hobbies and your age, which necessarily isn't really sensitive, can be utilized for the operator or that stadium. And then it goes on to talk about the Chunichi Dragons and the history and all that. And we don't need to go that. If you want to go on to Jasmy website, you can filter down and find out all about the Chunichi Dragons if you like. But let's talk about data and privacy. Obviously, in order to be of use to these types of systems, they have to analyze, they have to collect a lot of data about everybody. And that's kind of the downside that we see, of course, here in the U.S. We're very privacy sensitive, but there are a lot of countries out there who are not very privacy sensitive because they're not used to dealing with that, and they haven't grown up with that. So they know that the government already knows everything about them. There are millions of cameras all over the place collecting data, analyzing data, and biometrics also, right? And that's going to be part of the Jasmy's personal data locker is all of your biometric information. But if you're in places like China, they don't care about your privacy. They're going to utilize whatever it is they need to utilize to get control over crowds, control over the population. That's just what they do there. The people there, I'm assuming for the most part, aren't too concerned about it because they don't really know anything different, right? That's just how things have always been. They may even find it very security conscious on their part because the system knows what's going on at all times. It can see everything. Crime is down. You don't have to be as afraid to walk the streets because there are cameras literally everywhere. And then, of course, he goes through that old saying, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, then what's the big deal, right? And we're not going to talk about that right now. But that's the good and the bad side, and I'm going to talk about that a little more in depth when I do my video on the smart cities and the cities of the future and all of the data that's going to need to be collected to make that work. Here is another reason why I'm very bullish on Jasmy, and this may be a good horse to bet on for myself. I'm not a financial advisor, so don't take my advice. I'm not going to give you any advice. I can barely handle my own money, but this is kind of how I view Jasmy, right? I can put some money on this and let it sit. This is probably not a quick pump and dump. I'm not going to make a bunch of money right away. This is a sit and hold and let this thing build like most projects are today, right? The 2021 Inu phase where you made 1,000%, in 7 minutes, those days I think are over at this point. But the nice thing and the upside to this is that the all-time high price that this could go back to is over $4. And if you're looking at this right now, this is less than a penny. So obviously there's a very big upside here. So that's what I'm seeing. Obviously, we've had a little downturn here lately when just a bit of a correction in the market. We had some bad UK CPI data, and there was a big sell-off of some Bitcoin by a whale out there. But that is pretty much all I've got for you for Jasmy. Go back to the Jasmy site, do some more research. If you like this kind of a project, if you're like me and you're a maxi of real-world utility, you might fall in love with this project like I have. So having said all that, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. I do really appreciate it. It does help my channel grow. And for that, I thank you, and I will see you next time.